What's up? Welcome to What the Frap. I'm J-Zilla, your host. Joining me today is lead SSE engineer, Houston native, my friend, Corrin Williams. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. I'm a little upset though.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Because, I ain't getting my street name out there. You just giving my full government.
Listen, I
It's
need
supposed
somebody.
to be, J-Zilla and C-Dot,
C-Dot.
repping the 713.
Well, you're a rapper engineer? What is this?
I used to freestyle.
Really? Oh, uh-oh.
We're not doing any of that today.
Oh,
None.
come on.
None.
Look, okay, look, I am going to get you to do that with your guard down. One of these days, and I'm just going to cut it into this video. All right. Well, so that sounds super important, man. SSE engineer or lead SSE engineer. What does that mean?
So the jury's out. SSE has meant two different things over time. So it meant subsea system engineer, and then it's also meant subsea and surface engineer. But none of that really matters unless you know the context. So I work in the oil and gas industry. I've been there for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so when we're talking about surface or subsea, we're talking about where they're drilling for oil.
Oh, so that's interesting. Where did you actually end up drilling? What's the most interesting place that your career has brought you?
So one of the most interesting places, I guess I'd have to say, would be St. John's, Newfoundland in Canada. Mm. And it was interesting because that was probably the furthest north I'd ever been. I went around like March, so it was kind of springtime. At least in Houston, it was springtime. Mm-hmm. Up there, it was still pretty snowy and cold, but it was a good opportunity for me to take my snowboard with me and go find some backcountry riding. So nice. That was a plus.
That sounds amazing, man. So where has your career taken you that you didn't expect, I guess, in a business sense?
In a business sense?
Where are those invisible doors that open up around you?
Well, I'll tell you this much. So one thing they always say about engineering is it's not just, qualifying you to be an engineer, but you'll find engineers in a lot of roles because you're really just a problem solver. And that's a skill that's applicable to a lot of different, positions. So the different places it's taken me was, I started out in engineering and I was doing service/application type engineering.
Okay.
And from there, I went to training management. And I was managing, all the training curriculums and courses, different programs for our technical personnel, our technicians and our engineers in North America and some parts of Africa.
Oh, wow. That type of thing require you to have a passport, or is it like a work visa, or is it because, do you need any of that?
Almost exclusively via telecommunication.
Oh, okay.
Because there were like people who were more like executing the work at all of the different locations, but I was kind of directing how it needed to be done. Oh. And then on some occasions, very few occasions, I actually have to go travel and either deliver a class myself or put something in place, put a program in place or something.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. So I'm not sure about people out there, but for me, it sounds like you're a boss.
So I was a
boss. That's amazing.
You say, where has my career taken me? It's taken me up and it's taken me down. And it's not necessarily all related to the career per se, but whenever you go into corporate America, just know that there's a game that you're going to have to play.
I see. Now, that's an interesting game that I'd like to know more about one of these days. So you talk about the ups and downs. What are some of the challenges that you had to face while trying to achieve your career and or career goals?
People challenges mainly. Not to overstate it, but being an African American person comes with its own set of challenges, period. And when you want to take your Black self and go enter arenas that do not have a lot of people who look like you, well, you're going to face some additional challenges on top of whatever it takes to just do it, as a baseline. So I can share one story.
Please.
When I was in undergrad at the University of Houston, which I was there for a brief time. I didn't actually graduate undergrad from U of H, but I was there, and I had the dean of mechanical engineering. One, he gave me a difficult time transferring from the University of Miami to U of H, going from one engineering school to the other. He didn't want to let me in. So he wrote out a contract listing out a couple of courses and saying that I'd have to score a minimum of a B in each one of these courses. Anything else, he wouldn't let me in.
I see.
So I took that, scored A's in all those courses.
That's my man.
Kept on rolling, got into the program. Coming up to that same person. So the University of Houston, as most colleges, they have their own academic requirements, but within that, the School of Engineering there had additional requirements on top of that. And one of those requirements was that your first 5 discipline courses that you take of your program, you have to have an average of 2.5 or higher, which doesn't sound that bad, but it also includes all attempts.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the first time I took dynamics there, it really wasn't the subject matter. It was kind of the professor's teaching style didn't really mesh with me. And I had a very difficult time, and I made a D in that class the first time I took it.
Mm-hmm.
So I retook the class, and the second time I took it, I passed it with a B. Yeah. From that first semester in the engineering program there, I had screwed myself on that 2.5 instantly because of that first attempt.
I see.
But they don't assess that until you reach your junior year. So 2 years later, I got suspended from the College of Engineering.
Wow.
And I had a 3.3 GPA.
Mm-hmm.
Had mostly A's and B's in all my courses beyond that. And I was actually at an internship, a co-op, for the summer in Wisconsin, working. And I get an email saying, "You've been suspended from the College of Engineering indefinitely.
Wow.
You can petition to you can petition to be let back into the school, but you'll have to wait a semester for the response." And so where that left me, being a transfer student, I didn't have any elective courses to take. All I had was just engineering courses. So when you're suspended from that college, you can't take any of their courses.
Wow.
So I was stuck trying to figure out if I should switch majors or sit out a semester while I wait to see if they're going to let me back in.
That's crazy. Is that true with all engineering students? Or did you feel like it was happening because of your ethnicity or anything like that?
Well, the rule was true with all engineering students. Everybody had the same criteria. Mm-hmm. But what I came to find out after I made it back to Houston to come, see about my business, as I started asking around and trying to address these people, I found out that there were students who were just instantly readmitted to the school. If they go and give their story, they were readmitted. And all of these students just happened to be non-Black students. And when I went to start, I've always throughout college was an active member in NSBE, which is National Society of Black Engineers. So I went to go kind of talk to some of my colleagues there. And not only did I find out about how, a lot of people were being kind of rushed out of the program, a lot of Black people were being rushed out of the program behind this rule.
Yeah.
But I found out that some of my friends I didn't even know over the same summer had been cut from the program, and they just left the school altogether.
That's ridiculous. So how did you overcome that? How did you get back in, and when did you find out?
Honestly, I didn't really have a good plan. I was breaking down at that time. I went, I always had a pretty strong constitution about myself. So I went and I tried to talk to the dean, and I had to listen to the dean tell me how he didn't think I should be an engineering student.
I
I
see.
was a part of a funny thing was I was a part of a scholarship program where in exchange for me teaching lab courses for the School of Engineering, I get a scholarship. So I went and talked to my advisor there, and she was like, this happens all the time. And what I need you to do is, because I went to her asking, I was like, what should I do? Should I just go to the College of Technology or transfer or what? And she was like, do you want to be a technologist or you want to be an engineer?
Oh, that's great.
Well, I want to be an engineer. She was like, well, have you looked at Prairie View? And Prairie View is HBCU down here, not in Houston, but around Houston, surrounding areas. Honestly, when I came out of high school, I had kind of, I went on a black college tour to visit a whole bunch of different HBCUs, and I saw that, there wasn't too many of them that actually even had engineering programs.
Really?
So in my mind, I had built up, I was like, an HBCU just ain't going to be the way to go for me. But here I was, years later, faced with a decision, and, she told me that, so I looked into it, and it became the best thing I could have done.
Wow.
Because ultimately, I would have graduated from U of H a mediocre engineer, as far as GPA and all of that went. But when I graduated from Prairie View, I was second highest in my class.
Wow.
Magna cum laude. All so it was way better. I was employed before I graduated.
That is great. And a lot of people need to really pay attention to that last part, is having the wherewithal to look for a job before you even get out. Because so you want to have one waiting for you, like you did.
Absolutely.
And J. Cole's album, KOD, this Kill Our Demons, Kill Our Dreams sort of thing, kind of speaks to that, right? I mean, this idea that what you have to do sometimes is you have a plan. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes there's something better off for you.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. When one door closed, another one opens somewhere else.
Okay. So what are some of the milestones that you have achieved along your career path?
Let's see. Milestones for me. I was able to, I guess being in this career in this field and getting into the job roles that I did, I was able to pay off my school loans before I was 28.
That's a blessing.
I was able to become a homeowner. And now I'm on my second one now. So it's blessed me to be flexible and explore a lot, open up a lot more doors than I would have had without it.
That's amazing. That truly is a blessing. So what is the most, what types of activities are you involved in, inside your community?
But yeah, in the Houston community, I've actually always been pretty active, even when I was younger. One of the organizations I'm a part of, I'm a committee member in a group called the Greater Houston Frontiers Club. And what they do is they raise scholarship funds for local minority students in the Houston area. So when I was in high school, I was a part of their junior chapter, and I actually received one of those scholarships. So when I came back to Houston and, got close to graduating from school, I joined the club as an adult member and had been a member, for the most part ever since.
I see. So what made you even get into engineering, to even get into the club, to earn the scholarship, to follow along the lines of becoming an engineer yourself? And not just an engineer, a boss engineer.
Well, I was always a boss. I was always running something or somebody.
I see. Okay.
But my story for engineering is probably kind of generic sounding when you hear it. As a kid and as a young guy, I had a lot of toys that involved building stuff, Legos and science kits and circuit boards and stuff like that. I just liked projects. And so that would spill over. My parents taught me how to, work on their cars. And eventually I worked on my own car. I mean, anything I could think about trying to do, I would read about it and try to do it.
Nice.
So I guess the propensity to be an engineer was always there. But it wasn't until maybe about sophomore year of high school, my dad was sitting down asking me, hey, what do you think you want to do in college? And I was like, I don't know, maybe doctor, who knows? And he was like, well, you should look into engineering. You might be kind of good at that. And I was like, all right, I'll look at it. And as I started doing my reading, I was like, yeah, this sounds good. Design stuff, build stuff.
That's it.
Absolutely. So I was real psyched about it going into college and getting that learning experience. And it kind of rolled on through that. But I can tell you the what you imagine it looks like in the corporate world is not as exciting, typically.
Okay. There
are some roles and some opportunities, industries where you can go and it probably is that exciting. But for the most part, it's not.
So none of that Wolf of Wall Street stuff, right?
No.
All right. So you had your parents there helping you. You had your different clubs. For someone who is trying to step into your field, what advice would you give a person like that? Like what to look for to know that maybe engineering?
So usually I give 2 pieces of advice. And the first one is that as far as the schoolwork goes, it's going to be hard. It's going to be real difficult. And it may take you to a point, beyond what you just automatically knew. And you might feel like, it's real easy to get to the point where you'd be like, oh, this ain't for me. But the reality of the matter is everything you do in school is not as difficult as what you'll have to do in the workplace.
Okay. So just keep on. Just if you think you want to try it and keep at it.
I think I said that backwards. I mean, what you do in the workplace is not as difficult as what you will do in school. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like if you can just get past that part, that's the hardest part because there's so many different technical concepts that you have to do. But when you go into the workplace, you'll really only do whatever that one thing is you focus on. So, if your job, builds cars, everything you do is going to be having to deal with some small piece of that or some process dealing with that.
Right. That's some good advice right there, man. So what do you think? I mean, you're a living, breathing person. You like doing stuff.
I hope so.
All right, me too. There's that ghost again. So what are some things or how do you balance work with play or, just your regular day-to-day life?
I've almost always, I have a difficult time seeing it from like the outside in. So I don't know what it really looks like to anybody else. But to me, I've always tried to make sure that balance maintained even to the sense of like forcing it. So I've always taken almost all of my vacation, if not all of it, every year. I'm not one of those folks who like, I've never had a sick day or PTO. Like, no, they give me vacation so I can take it. So I try to travel. I do as much social stuff as I can, or pre-COVID.
Right, right. Oh, this COVID thing.
And then I try not to give them any free hours, to be honest.
What do you mean by free hours?
When you're a salaried worker, you beyond your 40 hours a week, the rest of that's free.
Oh, okay.
A lot of situations. So, I've always tried to do as much as I can in as little time as I can, so that, when it comes up, to these moments where, there's a lot of people who, I guess they build their merit by being like, oh, I always gave 110%. I was always the first at work and the last to leave. And I'm more of the school of thought that if I'm the first to work, I'm gonna be the first to leave. And you're gonna watch me.
I love when those old sayings turn out that like maybe that's not the best way to look at it, right? Like I like Will Ferrell movies. Talladega Nights is one of my favorites. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
That's a good one.
Good, great. So one of the things that you hear in Talladega Nights is you're first or last, and then he got that from his father, who was high on something, coming into a career day, and he took that seriously for all of his life until he meets his father in his adulthood. And he was like, first to last. You taught me that, Daddy. He was just like, first to last. Said, what are you talking about? I was high, Ricky. There's second place. There's third place. He just kind of wafts it off. I love when that happens. And I know there's this one time I got to visit a friend in Australia, and seeing how they lived out there, that really changed my mind. They say that Americans live to work, and there they work to live. Because they're talking about every job, every person that I met in every walk of life was talking about going on holiday to America or Europe or something. And I'm trying to figure out how can y'all have time off for one, and also have the money to do that. And they have a very good like savings program, and they get like maybe a month or so off in chunks to make sure their workers are rested and being able to enjoy their money, and then they come back and they produce good work. So I would love to see that catch on here in America. Siestas too. Yeah. I love my naps.
I definitely have to tell you, being an adult and adulting, doing my career life, I definitely come across like a lot of the same things. Like eventually a lot of old thought processes get torn down, and you're like, what am I doing? Like,
why would I do that? Yeah, that's how I think.
Yeah. We've got counterparts. Like my company has a substantial, we're a global company, but we have a substantial amount of people in like Norway. And it kind of similarly, these guys get about the same PTO as us. They're getting paid about the same. Mm-hmm. They've got better benefits because, their government has certain restrictions. You can't do certain things without, going through certain processes. But in addition to that, they've got like a summer vacation.
Yeah.
Like there's a month where, hey, nobody's going to be at work.
Right.
If you can get whatever you needed from them before then, you can holler at them in a month.
Right.
And man, I think they've got it right. But when you chase capitalism to a fault, you can squeeze every dollar out of something until there's no soul left in it.
Right.
And that happens a lot in U.S. corporations.
Mm-hmm. Or you're stressing yourself out to where you're having a stroke or a heart attack and don't get to enjoy the accumulated wealth that you've built.
Right.
Yep.
What's the point if you can't enjoy it?
That's right. That's right. You can't take it with you. All right. So we're going to go back 10,000 years. You a gatherer or a hunter?
I'm a hunter.
All right.
I'm a Texan. I'm Texan to the core. So,
Amen to that, man.
I've been hunting, since as long as I can remember. And if we were in the Stone Age, I'd be hunting in.
Sometimes I feel like I was born in the wrong time period. I'm right there with you.
I feel that.
Yes, sir. All right. So, personal question, if you don't mind. Married? Yes or no?
That's a no.
That's a no. All right. Why not?
It's more like a not yet. There's no particular reason why not. Mm-hmm. Just kind of, not the right one, not the right time, up until the point, to this point.
Yeah.
But now it's more like a countdown.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't ask too much more, just in case the lady is floating around somewhere. I don't want to mess anything up.
Right. Don't get me in trouble.
That's the rule. All right. So, as an engineer, is it possible to not want to fix everything? Like, you're just walking through life. Are you looking at other people's designs, buildings, and things of that nature, and just saying, like, I could do that better?
So, it's funny you should ask that. I could answer it simply, which like, yeah, you could, yeah, it's possible. Mm-hmm. But it's more, it always takes me, when you ask a question like that, it takes me back to this thought that is like, it's a prayer. It's a common prayer. I know you've heard it. Like, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. That, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for an engineer, oftentimes that's very real. And it's not as simple as you would think it'd be. Like, when you're saying you want to fix things, a lot of people will think, oh, it's like stuff, like the remote's broken. Oh, I gotta fix it. Nah, that's the stuff that you will fix. It's not even a problem. The more logical, the more pushed over to that problem solving type of mindset. And no matter where you start off, when you come out of that engineering program, you're going to be further over towards that. But no matter, right. But what it does is you start wanting to fix other people and processes and things like that. You'll start to see things and you just be like, why would a person do something like this? Yes. And that's that moment where you got to be able to let it go. Yeah. Elsewise, you'll find yourself with extra work for no reason and no benefit. Yes. Or you might offend somebody.
I am interested in engineering. I'm in school for it now to become an engineer. I'm just a baby. But one of the things that happened for me, anything from like looking at different structures and why would they put it on this side? Look at the sun. I mean, it's obviously going to raise and cause some problems. All the way to why are people putting mayo on French fries? If you would just try ketchup, maybe ranch. Like I'm trying to figure this thing out. I'm constantly trying to figure stuff out, and a lot of times with a lot of help from my producer or my family, I was just like, hey, maybe they just like it that way. Calm down, So I figured I'd ask you a question. Let it go, man. Let it go, Reggie. Yeah. All right. So how do you think people see you?
I don't know. I suppose there's some people who look up to me. I'm sure that throughout my lifetime, there's probably a few people who hate me. When I was in college, randomly, people I didn't really know would tell me that I was intimidating. So I don't know really how I'm seen. I suppose, the people I'm around the most have some sort of appreciation for me.
Yeah. Well, I know as long as I've known you, I never really got to know you, which I'm sad for that, but I've known about you. I know of your existence for a long time. And you've always been
right. We had very short encounters.
Yeah, very short. And so I just knew like you had a very good vibe about you. I was like, I don't know about this guy. I just want to be around him. So I was always appreciative and happy to get stay in contact with you through Facebook. It's one of the good things about it. But a person with hair like that, man, I'm pretty sure not very many people hate you. All right, if they do hate you, they just want your hair. That's it.
Well, I guess that's better than what I get sometimes when I come downstairs here, because they'll be like, "Oh, just let your soul."
Well, they gotta keep you humble, otherwise you won't be able to get that head every out the door. All right, so scenario: you leave this interview, and for whatever reason you want to play the lottery, you win $5 million. What's your first novelty buy, if any?
5 million or 500
million? Sorry, 500 million. 5 million is like what, $5 in today's money?
About to say I might go get a Happy Meal.
Put the rest in savings, diversify a bit, and then
$500 million. My first novelty buy. Apartment complex.
Ooh, see that?
Right.
Listen, black people, I hope y'all are paying attention. This man said an apartment complex. That is what you call residual income. That's how you spend money.
If you're out there and you want to give me $500 million, we can make this thing happen.
I like it, man. I like it. You got Williams and Gales.
My cash app is C Williams 713.
Put the cash app out there. You're gonna get more requests than donations. I'll tell you that right now. All right. So if you had to pick a car out there that best describes your personality, what are you?
There's only one way I can really answer this. It's probably going to be a Mustang.
Ooh, I see it.
Yeah.
Very capable, right? It's aesthetically pleasing to look at, right? Oh, yeah. I can see it.
Got some powers, got some get up. It can definitely get the job done. Mm-hmm. And it can look good when you want it to.
That's it, man. That's it. All right, look, that's a great answer. I'm not gonna tell you. Well, I will tell you since you shared with me. I want to be fair. My wife would say a clown car for me. I'll just get. That's my answer.
Not a clown car.
A clown car. It's like, man, like it's silly and you're not sure if it's a real car or a toy. But then if you unpack it, there's a lot going on inside.
So much going on.
How about that? Didn't see that coming, did you, buddy?
I like that. I like it. Good.
Clown car.
Terrible, but good.
Terrible, but good. A good terrible for you people outside of the South. Terrible can be good. Stupid is a playful thing for your wife to call you at times. One of those, you so stupid. That's a good thing, fellas.
It's definitely one of the nicer things she could call you, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to take a quick break. All right, 90s lightning round. You ready? As fast as you can. Don't think too much. Favorite 90s jam, movie, and game. Could be electric or board.
All right, jam. Maybe like Usher My Way. Oh, yeah. Because I was really into the R&B.
You look like you were into R&B.
Can't you see it? I'm about to put out my sophomore album right now.
Right now, looking like Genuine in his prime.
Movie. Good movies. Maybe Independence Day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
man.
It was good. Throw the sequel out. It could just put that in the trash.
Sequel?
But that first one, sequel? Will Smith. Exactly. What sequel?
All right, and then favorite game could be video or otherwise, a board game, card game.
Favorite game.
Yeah.
I'm tied. I have a tie there.
Oh, okay.
It's either gonna be Pokemon or GoldenEye.
Oh, 64. That's it. Listen. I still have my 64.
Cult classic. I still have my 64 and the GoldenEye cartridge.
Same.
I'm going to frame it. I'm going to spray it in gold.
Oh, man, do it. Because let me tell you, I've got GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Star Fox,
there you go.
And the other one is Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
See, that's all you needed to be trapped in the house like all weekend long.
Man. My kids don't understand. It's like, it looks horrible. It's like, what are you talking about? Get out of here. You don't know anything. Yeah, I only get to play that with my friend back in Tennessee. Shout out to J-Zilla, who literally, if we play 100 games, I may win 3. And I'm obsessed, and I refuse to play anybody but him. Yeah, I'm that guy.
Hey, you'll get that win percentage up, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm working. And that's the thing, too. I feel guilty if I play without him, so I don't even play. So it's a fresh, if I haven't played in 10 years, he hasn't played in 10 years, and it's still right where we left it. Yeah.
Oh, see, you better than me. I was always that one, if you whooped me today, this weekend, and I was coming over next weekend, every night I'd be up there just practicing.
That's what I would love to do. But I'm just like, man.
When I come back.
Go back for real. So what is Mr. Corrin Williams reading in his spare time, if he gets any spare time?
I get a little bit. I try to make spare time. I'm actually all over the place. I'm reading probably about 2 or 3 different actual books, and then listening to another one.
Oh, nice.
But one of the main ones that stands out to me right now, I'm really spending a lot of my time on, is a book called The Visual MBA. The Visual MBA. Yeah, I think I've got it.
Wait, MBA? Like Mary Bravo
MBA,
Alpha?
like Masters in Business Administration.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
Okay, good. What's it about?
Nah, not good. I tried. But it's it's taking a whole master's in business administration course and condensing it down into, it's only maybe 100 or so pages. But it's written by a guy who he got his MBA, but he was always a visual notes taker.
Okay.
So growing up, he was a doodler. And then when he got to college, he'd take his notes, he'd be drawing diagrams and cartoons that explain concepts. So in this book, it's probably got, it's probably about a third pictures and images of stuff out of his notes that translate these marketing concepts, branding concepts, finance structures, all that kind of stuff. And it's real simple to get. So I like it. It's a fast read.
All right. Well, maybe for you, man. Right now, I have to take notes just to keep up with your explanation.
Well, look, I tell you what. If you check it out and it's as simple as I say it is, then you got to let me know.
Well, listen, I will probably never read that book, but I'm going to make a concerted effort So, what's your favorite word? I know it's a random question. It's something I like to ask people.
Word, like a single word. Uh, excellent.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm muting and unmuting. Say it again.
Excellence.
Excellence. Okay.
Yeah, because that's something I've always kind of felt like I was just pushing myself towards, and at the same time, I also used it as my own self descriptor. So kind of like speaking it into
Yeah.
existence, like
I
I
like
will be
that.
excellent. I am excellent.
Yeah. People need to do that more often. A lot of people can see it as cocky, but I'm telling you, your words do matter. I mean, we know that to be true in religion, and now there are a couple of experiments that actually confirm that scientifically. And my rule is, anytime religion and science agree on something, it's got to be something major, and I try to pay
Yeah.
attention to that. Yeah, see, I went for just fun to say. Soliloquy is mine right now. I'm fluid though.
There you
All
go.
right, so with
Just rolls off the
yeah,
tongue.
man, soliloquy. There you go. So
Hey,
okay,
look, that sounded like your after dark voice right there,
yeah.
like for the other
For the other
podcast.
podcast, yeah. Don't worry about that one. That's invitation only. Don't worry about that.
This is Jay Smooth.
Jay
Throwing out
Smooth.
all smooth soliloquies.
Yeah. Soliloquy. All right, so in between your 3 books, your 1 audio book, and your career and your love life, all that going on, what is Corrin Williams watching right now?
Uh, um, I watch a variety of television, but some of the main things I'm watching right now, because I've ran through so much, it all kind of starting to look similar,
Yeah.
which I watch a lot of animated television. So
Ooh.
I'm watching Star Trek: The Lower Decks. I
Yeah.
watch animes. I'm watching what is it called? Boruto. I'm
Boruto.
watching
No.
yeah, yeah. I'm watching Sword Art Online, Alicization, Twilight Zone, the new ones.
Uh-huh.
Uh, all sorts of stuff. Legend of Korra,
Oh man, I
World's
can't.
Ultimate Race.
I just can't.
Check out World's Ultimate Race.
What is it?
The World's Ultimate Race.
World's
It's
Ultimate Race.
something on Prime Video, but it's sick. It's like Survivor, but it's an actual like eco race challenge type
Ooh.
thing.
That sounds good. I gotta say, I am so happy that you like anime. I'm telling you. Look, so before the days where internet was everywhere, right? You were hard pressed to find another black dude or lady who likes anime. I had no idea my wife likes it. I had no idea that my children would like it, and it was just you talking about hitting the jackpot, bro. There's a so most recently the guys I watch on YouTube, I think it's World RDC World 1 or something like that. But they just basically do all kinds of crazy stuff like what if anime existed in the hood, right? And when you talk about the guy from Death Note, it's just like, hey, getting kicked off the court, the basketball court, and just getting roasted off the court, right? And he was just like, he was talking about like, hey, so what's your name real quick? He was like, man, what you want to know my name for? He's like, no, I just, I like to write people's names down that beat me so bad, so I can come back and try to play better. And he's like, oh, okay, I like that good. And they gave him the name. He's just like, he starts writing in his notebook, man. I'm telling you, I appreciate that. We'll have to talk some more after the show about that. That could be a whole nother episode, man.
Before we switch gears, what was the anime that got you started?
Ooh, so we were a little bit financially deficient. Is that a good way of saying that? We were broke, man.
Yeah.
So literally, anytime I was at a sleepover at someone's house and they had like comic books, that's how I got onto that, X-Men and all that. But the first anime I saw was Dragon Ball Z on Toonami. And then I was hooked. I watched whatever they put on there, Afro Samurai, just anything, Cowboy Bebop, all that stuff. And then the internet hit, and it was like, I was in heaven. And so I kind of gotten out of touch with it. But I had a friend who we were in different states, and they were turning me on to different animes. and I literally or anime. I don't even know if I'm allowed to put an S on it. So they would turn me on to different anime, and we would watch like kind of count down and press play at the same time, and we kind of watch it together over the phone, just talk crap, you know.
That's tight.
Yeah, and so Kenichi, world's, or I guess history's strongest disciple. I love the old stuff too, man. Hajime no Ippo, right? If you've seen that one, it's a boxing one. Yeah, we watch everything now. Look, we broke down. We have Crunchyroll and Funimation, man. We do not play about our anime.
Oh, y'all got it.
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. So it's great. Right now, what we're watching, we started One Piece from the beginning. Because we were trying to figure out.
That's what I've recently started doing.
Yeah, we're trying to.
Corona.
Which one?
Corona Watch.
Yeah, Corona Watch, man. Corona. Whew. It's a blessing and a curse. So my son is 3, and he watches a myriad of different shows. And we literally was like, what anime do you think he would like? And I was like, anything that has fighting in it. And so we turned him on to that. And so now every day, Dad, I want to watch Pirates. It's like, it's One Piece, son, and sure. Yeah,
you're like, I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you. Single tear. Absolutely. So what's the funniest thing that happened to you recently? On the job, off the job? Just, if you will, share a funny story.
The funniest thing that's happened to me recently. Has something funny happened to me? I don't know. I'm sure that something has, but that one was probably one of the toughest questions you had for me to prep.
That's great. I like it. I can hear the wheels turning, and somehow it's making your hair look better. I don't know how you're doing it. Just keep doing it.
I'll tell you what. It's funny to me. Mm-hmm. And it happens to me. It happens to me regularly. And you notice there's a little YouTube video. It's a comedian. He does this puppet called Keisha Jones. You ever seen any of those?
Do you know the comedian's name?
I don't know the comedian's name, but if you type Keisha Jones in YouTube, this puppet pops up.
All right. Keisha Jones, go ahead.
He's got a whole bunch of videos, but one of them is like things Black moms say. And so it's just a whole bunch of like real short clips all smashed together for about like 2 minutes of her just saying different stuff. I'm like, you have some McDonald's money? It's some spaghetti in there. A whole bunch of different stuff. And, my goddaughter lives with us about half the week.
Okay.
And she's 11. And she went down the rabbit hole on this one, so she loves it. She watched it 1,000,000 times over. You put any of those videos on, she knows all the words. However, she's not very good at delivering a joke.
Oh, no.
So the whole concept of punchline and timing is not really there. So ever since like she like found that particular video, now whenever she sees me, she'll be like, "What you about to do? You about to go eat some spaghetti? Cause there's some spaghetti in there." And I'll be like,
"Oh no, you're missing it.
It's so bad."
But it makes you laugh, right?
It does. I mean, you have to laugh, but oh man, I hope she improves one day.
I hope she sees this and just gets like really embodies your obsession of like, oh, you beat me? Okay. And just writes and practices her timing and come back at you, man.
If she does that, there wouldn't be anything else that'll make me happier.
There you go. Either way, Corrin wins. I see the theme going here, man. So on a more serious note, what are some of the big, or I'll tell you what are one of the biggest concerns that you have both locally and then globally?
I mean, right now it's kind of hard not to ignore the 2 biggest concerns to me that, are plaguing the U.S., I would say, and the world, which would be, coronavirus pandemic, and then, kind of race relations in the U.S. Not that, anything necessarily new has occurred with race relations, but, now that there's increased focus on it, one of the things that's very concerning to me is I feel like a lot of people, this was a time where a lot of energy got stirred up around trying to move in the right direction. But I feel like a lot of people are sufficient, with these symbolic gestures, like, oh, well, this company posted a black square. There we go.
Yeah.
They support Black lives and the struggles that they go through.
Yep. Job done.
Everything's better.
Right. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Right. So that's like one of my largest concerns. I'm actually a member of a black what do they call them? Employee resource group. I'm not a
Say it
member.
again?
A committee member. Yeah, they call them employee ERGs, employee resource groups, but it's like the black professional group. So at my job, and it's called BOLD, the Black Organization for Leadership and Development.
Okay.
And so we've been around for, I think, maybe about 3 years. But it started because, there's very few black folks at my company in comparison. But we also, so knowing that, you kind of notice when you see them at the company, and a lot of us would just kind of pass in the halls and not really congregate or, try to figure out, how we can best support each other. And so a guy who doesn't work with us anymore, he started inviting people to these lunches. And you would just pass it, you send out this invite to this lunch. It happened maybe once a month. And you show up and it was as many black people as got the word.
Wow.
And, we did that for a couple of months. And then somebody was like, well, why do we have to sneak around to socialize and talk about these things? And so then we started pursuing getting the company to support us by letting us create the organization that we have. And so following the George Floyd incident, with all of these symbolic gestures and things that were happening, it actually gave us a platform to be able to speak directly to our executive board and our CEO. And for a company of, several thousands, that was pretty impressive. Now, it'll still stand to see if anything comes out of that, but, I was kind of encouraged to see that they were listening and interested in listening, I should say.
Right. That's a pretty big turnaround. How does someone get involved in that? Or is it just local, or is it something that y'all are trying to spread and grow?
So we started it locally here in the Houston area for our company, but we are currently exploring how to expand that. Specifically right now, our next chapter or group that we're trying to put together is over in Nigeria, because we have a lot of representation between Nigeria, Ghana, and
that's amazing,
Mozambique, where you have a situation where you have a lot of the company had, in order to operate in those areas, they have to agree to allow a certain amount of local content, get jobs. They have to create jobs for local people. But when you look at it from a numbers standpoint, most of those people are not in leadership roles, and the people who are in leadership roles are Americans from over here.
Right.
Probably getting compensated even more just to be over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
We're trying to create our help support them in starting their chapter, and then also help by collecting together our list of demands, if you will say. These are the issues we would like to see focused on.
That's such a dirty word, demands, right? We really have to work to change the perception of that. Because if you're sitting around if you're an NBA player or anything in entertainment, and you have an agent negotiating your contract, that makes things better for both sides. It helps with competition. It brings, so a lot of people look at a word like demand as sort of already you're coming to the table with the wrong mindset, which we really should be looking at what do we want? What does it take to get there? Will it harm others if we got this thing? And then why are we still sitting around? Let's get it done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely have a great point there. That was kind of why I used the quotation words when I said it, was because I couldn't think of a better word to use. But from my perspective, what I look at it as is more like one of my mottos that I live by, which is, closed mouths don't get fed.
Yes, absolutely.
So although there are a lot of struggles that you will meet just because you are colored the way you're colored and you live in the place that you live, not all of those struggles have to remain that way.
Right.
And one of the things that could be holding you back is that you're not speaking what you would like to see happen, or that you have a struggle.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
What do you think that we're missing as a community? And for people out there, I want you guys to understand something. Each person is an individual. We're very diverse in our communities, in our communities and outside of our communities. But just because we're talking about things that affect us personally does not mean that we're looking down on anyone else's struggles. We're just trying to take care of some things that are closer to home to be able to help with things that are further away. So I want to get that out the way first, because a lot of people can take what you say and make it about them and their issue. You know, one of the best things I ever heard about this whole Black Lives Matter movement is someone equated it to, you know, the anti-Black Lives Matter movement. Someone equated that to like having a rally for breast cancer and somebody bursting through the doors and yelling out, "Hey, all cancers matter." You know, like, yes, I understand we are working it from this end. Maybe look at some things that you can do on your end, and let's all get together and all elevate ourselves. So I don't know. It seems big, but really, the biggest things I'll tell, because I have two daughters. One's a preteen, one's a teenager, 15 and 11. And one of the things we try to always tell them is like, hey, I'm glad that you're paying attention to the issues. Black Lives Matter, the pandemic, all these things. But one thing we try to get across to them is you can't fix the world till you clean your room. You know, what can you do right now to make sure that you're getting better than the person before, or than you were yesterday, right? Aiming for responsibility, competence. That's been a theme of mine for, going on a year now. Responsibility and competence, and then see how you can help others. So I really appreciate what you're doing, man. You're going to have to send me all of those links, and we'll be sure to definitely put it in the video.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So changing gears for a little bit, because I want to keep it light, there's informative. But light.
I mean, we get into some heavy stuff. If we talk too much more about it, we might get a tweet from 45.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. You know what? No, I'm not going there. Not yet.
Don't do
not
it.
Yet.
Don't you do it.
You said some great stuff. I don't want to take this interview with any of that nonsense. My goodness. Whew. So just to switch gears a little bit here, because we treaded some very deep, very muddy waters, and you have a lot of solutions. You're just gonna have to come back on the show, man. We'll make it a show about that.
I got you.
Good. Okay, that's a verbal confirmation right there. I'll hold you to it. So
next time I might try to bring a guest with me.
Please, yeah.
All right.
All are welcome, man. We can get her own camera set up and everything.
Perfect.
So, what is your celebrity crush from past? Okay, did you ever have one? If you did, is she still, or he still your celebrity crush? And if so, why?
I've had many, and no, they're not still the celebrity crushes for various reasons.
For various reasons, okay.
Dascha Polanco.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite. Probably the only celebrity I follow on Instagram. I was just scrolling profiles one day and was just like,
That is a very family-friendly way of putting it. She seems interesting. Yeah. I wonder what she studied in school. That'd be interesting. Let me just go ahead and follow her and keep up with
about her background.
Yeah. Let's keep up with her. See where this goes. Well, I appreciate you for joining me. Any final thoughts or promotions, and any words of advice, to our listeners? You have so many different titles. You're African American, college graduate, master's, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got the grad school credentials. You're a boss engineer. Anything you want to offer, I'll let you have the final say before we get out of here.
I'm going to try to squeeze as much as I can into this. So I'm going to give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to my U of H Cougs. Shout out to Prairie View Panthers. Prairie View Producers, Productive People. Shout out to the H, everybody else, University of Miami. And then on top of that, let's see, any promotions. I don't have any promotions yet. I got a lot of irons in the fire.
Nice.
But what I will say for all of you interested in engineering or following that particular career path is think one step past just engineering, because engineering is one step. Once you get there, it's a corridor to many other things. And the better laid out plan you have as to where you want it to take you will help you get more out of it as you go through.
Oh, what? Well, there you have it. You did a very good job, sir. All right. Thanks. Please join us next time. We'll be here every week. This has been What the Frap with J-Zilla with our wonderful guest, the boss engineer. Wait, give me a shout out of your street name.
C-Dot.
C-Dot. Give a shout out to the Qs and whatnot. Thank you for joining me, and thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.